Page 28. Page 28. Everyone sing along. Thank you, Mina Wagner, for opening the service for us. Good evening. Shana Tova. We gather this evening. Rosh Hashanah, among other things, is the celebration of the anniversary of the creation of the world. But according to our tradition, we also say in our daily liturgy, She betuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, that every day in goodness creation is renewed. So creation is an ongoing process, and we are partners in creation. So as Mina's singing, and you're all singing with her, has just reminded us, we have a great deal of agency about the kind of world that is built daily and the kind of creation that is renewed daily. So we gather this evening also to set some intentions collectively going into this new year about how the world should look, our aspirations, our commitments, what is within our control and what is beyond our control, knowing that we have great power and that we are as dust and ashes. And both those things are true, and yet we gather and do what we can. So I'm glad to see you all here this evening, and it's my pleasure to invite the president of our board, Mindy Schlossberg, to also share a few words of welcome.
We are here on this Rosh Hashanah Eve, poised somewhere between what we have been and what we wish to be. We are here at the season of Teshuvah, of turning, of returning to the self we have covered up behind the roles and masks with which we have learned to protect ourselves. We are here in celebration and in search, in judgment and embrace, ready to confront ourselves and the world in which we find ourselves this night. We seek to open wide the windows behind which we have hidden and to send forth, hand to heart, to learn where we have come, what we have become, and what we hope to be.
I'd like to invite the committee chairs up for the candle lighting, and you can find the blessings for the candle lighting on page 28.
I see at least one other committee chair here. All right, all right. So we say goodbye to the year that was, with all of its blessings and curses, and we take in the new year. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel yom tov. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. In the season of Teshuvah, and we pray for the gates of repentance, the gates of righteousness to open for us, that we can enter with a whole heart.
Page 50, please.
Pitchu li sharei tzedek avovam odeya. Pitchu li sharei tzedek avovam odeya. Sha'arei tzedek
Rabbi Chaim of Zantz was wont to tell the following parable. A sojourner had been wandering about in a forest for several days, not knowing which was the right way out. Suddenly, he saw someone approaching him. His heart was filled with anticipation. Now I will learn which is the right way, he thought. And when they neared one another, he asked, "Please tell me which is the right way out of this forest. I have been wandering about for several days." Said the other to him, "I do not know the way out either, for I too have been wandering about here for many, many days. But this I can tell you, you do not take the way I have been going, for that will lead you astray. But now let us look for a new way together." Please rise as you're able for the call to prayer, which you'll find on page 62.
Let us affirm that here we are, looking for a new way together. And this is a really excellent time, if you haven't done so already, to make sure that you have turned off any devices that might make noise so that we don't need to be distracted from our holy search together.
You may be seated. I'd like to invite Vivian Friendly up for a reading.
I don't know. How was that? The Head of the Year by Marge Piercy. The moon is dark tonight, a new moon for a new year. It is hollow and hungers to be full. It is the black zero of beginning. Now you must void yourself of injuries, insults, incursions. Go with empty hands to those you have hurt and make amends. It is not too late. It is early and about to grow. Now is the time to do what you know you must and have feared to begin. Your face is dark too, as you turn inward to face yourself, the hidden twin of all you must grow to be. Forgive the dead year. Forgive yourself. What will be wants to push through your fingers. The light you seek hides in your belly. The light you crave longs to stream from your eyes. You are the moon that will wax in new goodness.
page 66.
Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu, leolam va'ed. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim.
Ahavat Olam is on page 72.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, Amecha, Amecha, Ahavta. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, Amecha, Amecha, Ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, limadeta. Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, limadeta. Okay.
Page 74.
ואהבתך לא תסור ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
The Shema can be found on page 76.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol merotecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Please continue silently with either biblical selection 1 or 2, beginning on page 77 and concluding on page 84.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We'll continue on page 88.
Just the very last line of the page before we turn the page and go into Micha Mocha. Umalchuto veratzon kiblu alehem Moshe uMiriam uvenei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilot oseh vele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch leolam va'ed V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov Ugealo miyad chazak mimenu Ay, 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 Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 92.
We pray for peace, and as we pray for peace, let's notice the peace that surrounds us in this moment. No matter what might be stressing us out, no matter all the anxieties that we carried into this space for situations in our own lives or for the state of the world, let's take a moment and notice that we are in a synagogue. We are in a synagogue in a public location, and we don't have the sound of gunshots in the background. And we have clean air to breathe right now. And we are in a moment of relative peace, and that is a greater gift than many people in world history have experienced, and it is a greater gift than many people in the world right now experience. So as we pray for peace together, as we say, spread over us the shelter of your peace, let's have a really expansive understanding of whom we mean by us. Help us to lie down, dear one, our God, in peace. And let us rise again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Decree for us a worthy daily lot, and redeem us for the sake of your great name, and enfold us in the wings of your protection, for you are our redeeming guardian. Truly a sovereign, gracious, and compassionate God are you. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, compassionate one, who spreads your canopy of peace over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem, and over all the world. Ushmor tzeitenu, uvoenu, lechaim uleshalom me'ata ve'ad olam, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Amen.
You'll find Wings of Peace on page 95. Page 98.
תקעו בחודש שופר, בכסה ליום חגנו, כי חוק לישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב.
The Chatzi Kaddish is on page 100. And then please rise after as you're able. We'll go straight into the silent Amidah, which begins on page 104, goes to page 126. I'm sure you're all taking notes now. There's other meditative options on page 127, or listen to the meditations of your heart. And I will give you a reminder.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועמד יברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבוא ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen.
Please stand as you're able for the silent Amidah, which begins on page 104. Turn to page 50, please.
Or keep praying at your own pace. Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai, Elecha,
Ashivenu,
Shuvenu, then Chodesh, Chodesh, Yameinu Kekedesh. Ashivenu, Ashivenu, Adonai, Elecha,
Please turn to page 1188, and you may be seated.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילה לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותיהון ובאותיהון דכל בית ישראל קדם אבוהון דיבי שמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. done, all of you. As many of you know, this is my first Rosh Hashanah speaking Torah to all of you as a parent. So it is with that lens that I read the special Torah readings for this holiday, which together trace a trajectory of Avraham Avinu, Abraham our father, losing his moral compass. And as a consequence, losing his relationship with both of his children and with God. These readings reflect the anxiety of any of us who might wonder how our own moral failings might put the well-being of the next generation at risk, or even our own spiritual well-being at risk. Tomorrow, we'll read from Genesis chapter 21, in which Sarah demands that Avraham banish his firstborn son, Yishmael, son of the concubine Hagar. Yishmael nearly dies of thirst in the wilderness before an angel reveals the presence of a miraculous well to Hagar. Dr. Paul Slovic, as part of his Scientists in Synagogues talk, will be speaking more tomorrow about the revelation of that well. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, we'll read the subsequent chapter, Genesis 22, in which Avraham receives a call to sacrifice his second son, Yitzchak. He complies, bringing the command almost to completion, with Yitzchak bound on the altar, Avraham holding a knife above him, before an angel intervenes to redirect the sacrifice. And Lucy Zamorelli will speak Tuesday about the various meanings of Avraham's test. These two stories, read separately, are deeply intertwined and point to a lesson of what happens when Avraham stops speaking and listening from his ethical core. Now, before either of these stories open, Avraham has been set up for us as a paragon of moral sensitivity. This is the same Avraham whose humanity was so renowned that a few chapters earlier, in Genesis 18, God consults with him regarding the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. And Avraham adamantly argues against the plan of destruction, bargaining for mercy should even 10 righteous people be found. Unfortunately, after all of that arguing, there are not even 10 righteous people, and so Sodom and Gomorrah were still destroyed. By the time our Rosh Hashanah readings open, we've barely left those events. So in tomorrow's reading, when Sarah demands that Avraham send Yishmael away, the text says, Vayera hadavar me'od be'enei Avraham. This is commonly translated as the matter distressed Abraham. It literally means the thing was evil in Abraham's eyes. His moral instinct reacts viscerally to this demand. He recognizes it immediately as wrong. And God tells him, Shema b'kolah. This is often translated as, do what Sarah says, but that's actually not a correct translation, and our Machzor has the correct translation, which is, listen to her voice. But listening to one's own moral instinct or to the deep needs of another requires a great deal of work. I'm sure we can all relate in our own relationships how it is often easier to meet or argue against the direct request someone is making than it is to hear the deep needs and feelings behind their demands. And perhaps by this point, after his failure to prevent the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham may be jaded, no longer confident of his own ability to effect change through dialogue, through listening. For whatever reason, Abraham misses the meaning of God's instruction and declines to listen further, quashing his own qualms and sending his concubine and son away. Thus, he loses his firstborn son. At the beginning of the second story, This time God approaches Abraham, saying, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Yitzchak, to the land of Moriah and bring him up there for a sacrifice." This is commonly understood as the demand that Avraham sacrifice Yitzchak, although it is important to note, and sage figures all the way back to the medieval commentator Rashi do note, that the command is not actually literally slaughter him, but just bring him up. That could mean bring him up and then back down, bring him up and show him how to make a sacrifice. And yet Avraham assumes that he must sacrifice his remaining son. This time, Torah does not say that the thing was evil in his eyes. There's no instinctive moral reaction, only obedience. It's as if after sacrificing the first son, he's incapable of advocating for a better future for the second, resigned and numb to his own worst catastrophic fantasy. Avraham could not have imagined sacrificing Yitzchak had he not already tamped down his own voice of moral urgency regarding Yishmael's expulsion. By the time God tests him regarding Yitzchak, the moral instinct has been thoroughly silenced. Of course, the angel intervenes. So Avraham never, in fact, brings down the knife on Yitzchak's throat. The episode has its ambiguously happy ending. But God never speaks to Avraham again. Neither do either of his sons, nor does Sarah, his wife. Avraham's incremental decisions to dull his own moral response and accommodate increasingly repugnant actions creates complete estrangement in all of his closest relationships. It's very easy for us to track Avraham's decline, to wince at the moments when he should have taken the long view, when he should have done things differently. And yet in this season of self-reflection and tshuva, we read this story because of what it says about us too, Avraham's spiritual descendants. I imagine that our sages assigned these stories to our holiest days because of the questions and the fears that they reflect for every generation. How do we stay connected to the next generation? How do we have a generative culture and not one that pushes them away or, God forbid, destroys their chance at a future? And Jews in much of history listened to these readings knowing full well the risk of raising Jewish children, that they might very well be killed for their devotion to following this path. But with that knowledge, they weighed the risk of loss of life against the risk of loss of culture, loss of meaning, loss of community, and decided that the gift that they were giving to their children was worth the burdens and the risks that came with it. And thanks to that decision, here we all are, still hearing these readings. In our historical moment, the trajectory of our great ancestor Avraham slowly denying his own moral instinct, failing to appropriately listen to his wife and then to his God, and then losing it all, must yet raise questions for us. When our government has banished children from their parents and failed to return them, when we have failed to pass legislation that would prevent children from being shot by semi-automatic weapons at school, when those who are supposed to represent the interests of the people increasingly transparently act in the interests of corporations, when our government daily seeks to roll back the regulations that would allow the future a basically livable planet, and when those are only a few of the morally repugnant realities with which we are being confronted every day, the issue of Avraham's incremental moral numbing is deeply instructive. How do we, too, succumb to the temptation to numb ourselves to great wrong? Do we do it, as Avraham did, for the sake of peace in our relationships? Do we do it, as Avraham did, because we lack faith in the efficacy of our voices raised in protest? Or do we do it, as Avraham did, because it is easier to respond to the simple demands of each moment than it is to listen more deeply and take a longer view? No matter why we do it, Avraham's trajectory reminds me that each time I tamp down my own sensitivity and respond to the latest moral outrage with a shrug or an eye roll or a joke, I put my daughter's well-being and the well-being of all generations after me at risk. I put my own spiritual well-being at risk. From the hindsight of this story, we can see the damage that arises from Abraham's willingness to send one son away to raise a knife over the other, and yet our own children may very well blame us, rightly, for the trauma of their sacrificed futures. Not in anything so dramatically eventful as banishment or a knife to the throat, but the cumulative losses that we have not fought hard enough, the democratic norms that we allow to decay, the social support systems that we fail to protect, the clean air and fresh water that should be every child's birthright. This is my greatest fear as a mother. That like Avraham, I am so caught up in keeping the peace in my immediate relationships, pursuing the day-to-day needs, maintaining equanimity, not offending all of you, that I might not be properly attending to my child's future. And unlike Avraham, we don't have angels stepping in to correct human error in recent history. What do we have? I promise I'm not going to leave you with just Avraham. Against Avraham's complicity, we have another story. The Haftarah for the second day of Rosh Hashanah, the last message from Tanakh, from the Bible on this holiday, offers us a different model with our foremother, Rachel. Jeremiah 31 was written after the destruction of Jerusalem and the first exile of our people, after, that is to say, a whole generation had been dispersed or killed. And it depicts Rachel as mother of the entire Israelite people, desolate over the loss of her children. Verse 15 reads, "A cry is heard in Ramah, wailing, bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children who are gone." But Rachel is not just passively weeping. Tradition holds that she is actively, proactively expressing great outrage. Midrash Echa Rabbah 24 imagines all the forefathers on the day of the destruction of Jerusalem, as the people are going into exile, pleading with God for mercy for the Jewish people. And the forefathers each invoke their own merits. And God rebuffs or ignores them, one after the other, from Avraham to Moshe, until Rachel steps forward. She reminds God that she shared her husband, Yaakov, with her sister Leah, even helped Leah deceive him on what should have been Rachel's own wedding night. And so she makes her case. If I, who am but flesh and blood, could overcome my jealousy so as not to cause my sister pain, how can you, living and eternal God, be jealous of idols that have no substance? For this, you've exiled my children, killed them by the sword, and let their enemies have their will with them? And it is Rachel's tears, not of despair, but of outrage, that cause God to relent and promise an ultimate redemption. Rachel does not let her moral sensitivity be dulled. Her commitment to the well-being of her descendants pushes her to confront even God, demanding, "Can't you behave as well as I could?" And God is moved by this demand. As with Avraham's argument regarding Sodom and Gomorrah, Rachel's dialogue reminds us that God needs and expects us to advocate for justice. This is what it means to be partners in the ongoing act of creation. This is our achrayut, our responsibility. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, Rachel gets the last word. Avraham may have been willing to sacrifice Yitzchak, but Rachel raises her voice and rails against the loss of all her children. And it is with Rachel's outrage that the hope for redemption lies. We now are in this together, all of us facing the losses, all of us tempted, like Avraham, to focus only on the explicit demands of each moment rather than the future that we risk destroying. And so as we face the new year, instead of sliding down the path of inattention and resignation and moral numbing, let us find hope in the example of Rachel to live and speak with integrity and even outrage. We risk all the generations after us if we don't. So, we must ask ourselves how to keep ourselves from numbing that voice of our outrage. How do we stay in relationships that hold us morally accountable? How do we live with compassion and a vision of liberation, even when society around us is becoming more cruel and oppressive? How do we maintain integrity between our beliefs and our actions? As we search for a way, I obviously don't have all or even many of the answers, but I am sure of a few things. That way that we find together cannot be miserable. It must be joyful. As my beloved teacher, Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, says, despair is not a strategy. And joy is an act of spiritual and political resistance. It cannot be individual, it must be collective, because the task is too great for any of us to shoulder alone. It cannot be reactive, it must be generative, because showing our children a vision of what they can aspire to be is far more compelling than just sharing a narrative of all the ways the world is failing them. None of us individually will be able to do enough. But each of us can do a little more than we're doing right now. As Rabbi Tarfon taught in Pirkei Avot 2,000 years ago, it is not your duty to complete the work, but you are not off the hook from doing what you can. May we find a way together, and may we remember that we're not seeking that only for our own sakes, but for the love of the next generation, for the sake of our relationships, for the sake of our collective future, common humanity, and our own souls. Shana Tova.
I want to invite the children up to the bima for Kiddush.
And cake.
And cake. What was I thinking? The most important part, cake.
You got it? Not quite yet. After Kiddush.
After Kiddush, of course. What am I thinking?
Well, we should have.
You'll find the Kiddush on page 1198. And if you would rise as you're able, please.
Any other kids in the room want to come up for Kiddush and cake? Remind us what and whom we are here for. I think the oldest, the next kid here to become bar mitzvah, would you hold the Kiddush cup? All right, thank you. Got it open for me, thank you. Absolutely. All right. Savri Chaverai, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kra'anu la'avodato, veromemanu bikdushato, v'kideshanu b'mitzvotav. Vatiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava, et yom hazikaron hazeh, yom teruah mikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki eleinu karata ve'otanu kidashta la'avodatecha, u'devarcha emet ve'kayam lad. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz, mekadesh Yisrael, veyom hazikaron. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. And I'm going to put this here. If any of you want to take a sip, you can, and you don't have to. And we're going to say Borei Minei Mezonot over the honey cake and wish all of you a sweet new year. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Minei Mezonot. And you can take and pass. Here. You could take your whole piece. Danielle Aviv, would you like some cake? No? It's a little messy, but that's okay, because sometimes life is a little messy. And we say that what we do on Rosh Hashanah sets a model for the rest of the year. So I wish for you a year of sweetness and a little bit of messiness and dessert every night. Did you all get some? Okay. All right, may you all be blessed with a sweet year, Shana Tova. And you can sit down. Do you want some honey cake, Tova? Okay. You can, actually, I think we're going to stay standing because we're about to do Aleinu. But it was a good question. Where did my machzor go? Oh, here it went. Thank you.
Let's see. I'd like to call up Shaul Cohen for the Aleinu. And I will affirm the rabbi. Please stay standing as you're able as we open the ark. And Elena's on page 1202.
So,
I think after the.
Ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah temet, v'chaye olam nata betocheinu, v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. We are called to bring together the sparks to preserve a single moment of radiance and keep them alive in our lives, to defy absurdity and despair, and to wait for God to say again, "Let there be light." And there will be light.
Page 1206. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated as the ark is closed.
One of the names of this holiday is Yom HaZikaron, the Day of Remembrance. And so, as is the case with all the aspects of our year cycle, we are supposed to layer what we do today on top of all of the experiences of the ancestors celebrating every holiday of Rosh Hashanah before us. And so, at this moment, we invite in those who have come and gone before us, those whom we mourn, those who died at this season in years past, those who died recently, and the holidays can bring up those memories of even those who did not die at this season or did not die so recently. So I honor all the memories and all the people who might be in this room, all the souls that might be invoked as we turn to Kaddish.
Page 1216.
Rosh Hashanah is the yahrzeit of Jack Dinsfriend, Lester Goldschmidt, Devorah Miriam Holland, Ruth Landis, Sarah Rubenstein, Suzanne Rubenstein, Joy Ungerleider-Meyer, Dr. Robert Yokel, and Simon Simonton, Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for blessing. If any of you are saying Kaddish this evening for anyone that I named or for anyone else, I invite you to stand and say Kaddish with me. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach Yeruteh ve'amlich malchuteh b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'le'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us and for all Israel and for all who dwell on earth. May all mourners be comforted, and may the memories of those we have named and those we are holding in our hearts be for blessing. Amen.
Page 218.
12.
Excuse me, page 1218.
The psalm for the season of repentance. There are so many things we ask for, but for this moment, we'll just ask for this one thing together.
What would a service be without announcements? We'd like to invite Mindy back up to give you all a few.
Maybe more than a few, but I'll try to be brief. A huge thank you to Rabbi Ruchi, our wonderful lay leaders, musicians, the Tefillah Minchag Committee, to Tova, and to Nina for all of their hard work and heartfelt contributions to the service. Thank you to the board members and greeters and ushers for welcoming members and guests. And a thank you to Rhythm and Blooms for the flowers and to Scopels for cleaning the Talasim. We'd also like to thank everyone who's participating in the mitzvah of TBI's annual High Holy Day food drive by bringing 2 cans or packages of food for each member of their family to each of the High Holiday services. Please continue to bring your food as you're able. Rosh Hashanah services continue tomorrow with 9 a.m. children's services for younger kids in the library and for ages 6 and up in the tent in the courtyard. We'll keep our fingers crossed for dry weather. 9 a.m. Yom morning services include the shofar service and a Dvar Torah by Dr. Paul Slovic as a kickoff for our Scientists in the Synagogue program. At 4 p.m., join Rabbi Ruchi at Alton Baker Park for Tashlich, followed by a PJ Library Tashlich and Tales event. 8 p.m., second day Rosh Hashanah evening service with a drush by Ellen Rifkin. And on Tuesday, we have a second day service beginning at 9 a.m. with a shofar service and a drash by Carolyn Sheik. Erev Shabbat services will be at 6:30 p.m. with a shorter friends and family service. And if you were not able to follow all of that, you can find all of these services and events on our TBI website. Please join the Dues Task Force for a community meeting on Sunday, September 16th at 9:30 a.m. or Wednesday, September 26th at 7 p.m. to learn about the new membership commitment proposal to replace our current dues model. You can share your feedback and get your questions answered. The meetings will have the same content, so you only need to attend one. Oneg hosts are needed for several Erev Shabbat services in September and October. Please join with a friend to do this mitzvah. You can go to the website to sign up. The TBI Board of Trustees is seeking candidates for open board positions. Please go to the TBI website and log in to find information in the Members Only section, or feel free to speak to a board member. At the conclusion of services, please stay for the Oneg sponsored by the TBI Sisterhood. And a huge thank you to the Sisterhood and everyone who contributed to the Oneg. You can help us prepare the social hall for the Oneg by stacking chairs in the social hall and putting out tables at the conclusion of services. And please help us prepare for the next service by returning your books to the tables in the foyer. L'Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Thank you, Mindy. And a small correction, not your fault, but you had an slightly out of date set of announcements. The Rosh Hashanah Day 2 Devar Torah is going to be given by Lucy Zamarelli, for which we are very grateful.
We can all turn to page 1220 for Lachem Ar Libi, or 1000 plus 220.
Regarding you, my heart says, seek my face. Your presence I seek. A reminder as we go out into the new year that the great task is seeking relationship, seeking inward in our own hearts, and seeking the face of the other to better the world. Amar libi, bakshu fanai, bakshu fanai. May we all be blessed with a sweet new year. Thank you all for choosing to be here this evening. Shana Tova.